Welcome back to another Lifestyle Indy. I'm Paul Poteet.
And I'm Julie Patterson, and we're so glad you're with us.
I'm here and I have questions, Julie.
Well, start with one and we'll see if we can answer it.
Well, I need to know why Jack Doyle is so popular with the Colts.
I know he's a local, went to Cathedral High Schools. That's got to be part of it. We'll find out on our show. And we are going to meet Mr. Muffin. But his profession has nothing to do with baking or cooking, right?
It's a hobby and it's a business these days.
Oh, okay.
For a man named Mr. Muffin. So you're going to meet him on our show. We're also going to find out what they're doing at the Propylaeum.
The Propylaeum. What a cool place. It's beautiful. It's got a rich history. We'll take you there.
And after a couple of glasses of wine with Jill Dittmeyer, I can't say Propylaeum.
You won't be able to probably.
Way.
But we'll be talking about it. And we're going to find out what Jill Dittmeyer knows about wine. It's a lot. She has a vast knowledge of that spirit.
That's all coming up here on this edition of Lifestyle Indy. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lifestyle Indy is made possible with support from Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match customer-specific needs and style. Additional funding is provided by Altman, Poindexter, and Wyatt attorneys, serving clients throughout Central Indiana with wills, trusts, and estates, with over 70 years of combined experience.
Well, have you seen the Muffin Man?
I have seen the Muffin Man.
He really
I have
exists.
seen the Muffin Man's trains. They're amazing.
Okay, that's his name then.
So, well, that's his nickname. If you get out his driver's license, it doesn't say Muffin. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
So we're going to find out how Mr. Muffin became Mr. Muffin.
Okay, good, because I am curious.
And how he got all of these trains, these amazing trains, as we take you to Atlanta, Indiana. It's the railroad crossroads of America.
And of Lifestyle Indy, apparently.
Your background with trains starts like it does with a lot of people. You were collecting this in a basement.
Yeah, collecting it in a basement and going down every day and playing with it a little bit to kind of get away from my job. About 15 years ago, I came down with colon cancer, and it was a touch and go.
So you technically die on the operating table, and your near-death experience is train-related.
Well, it was. I mean, because I got so much trains in my history, you know, my near-death experience ended up with me landing in a train car, on my way to heaven. And the messenger brought a train car to make me comfortable, is what he told me. But the surgeon I had was very talented, and they were able to bring me back, pull me away from the bright light in the doorway, and bring me back. But so it's, you know, trains have been a hobby of mine for a long time. I worked in the toy and hobby shop in Broderville, Ed Schock's Toy and Hobby, when I was like 14 years old. So I've been around the hobby my whole life.
And so from that point then, it does become a business, and now you're one of the biggest train sellers in the country.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah, it was all about, let's take my trains and put them in a public place where people can enjoy them, instead of having them hidden in a basement somewhere. And we started that in Carmel 8 years ago. We came to Atlanta, Indiana, little tiny town, 2 block long.
With a train track.
With a train track, right in the middle, nickel plate Heritage Railroads right here. This is our 5th public layout. It's our biggest for sure. We have over 6,000 trains in this building.
So the business involves this place that people come, say, on Saturday and watch you run all these, you know, awesome train layouts. And then a couple of doors down is where people actually can buy the trains, and they can do that online too.
Yeah, and do that for themselves, right? But the majority of the people that come here to enjoy the trains here at Mr. Muffin's Trains don't buy anything. I mean, they come to experience model railroading, they come to share the hobby with their family or friends, reminisce about trains they had when they were a kid, reminisce about real trains. I mean, that's what this is about.
Okay, we haven't explained it yet. Your real name, it's right here on the wall. It's Steve Nelson.
Yes.
What's the deal with Mr. Muffin?
Well, you know, when my kids were little, I would make up jokes, and they were about the muffins. You know, getting ready to put them to bed, and I'm telling them a story about what the muffins did today. When my sons started helping me get into eBay and stuff like that, they said, "You can't use your real name, Dad." And so they just typed in Mr. Muffin's Trains. They're your trains. That's who you are. That became my online persona.
And the business is built around that and has done pretty well.
Yeah, we've done okay. So you know, we're a player in the industry. I mean, model railroading is still the largest hobby in the U.S. on a wholesale dollar basis. Bigger than rockets. It's bigger than anything.
And if you haven't seen a train in a while, when you come to Mr. Muffin's shop, you may be surprised that it's being run with an iPad.
Yes, right. A company called Mike's Train House, MTH Electric Trains, built an app that can talk to these trains. The trains all have a chip in them, and the train actually talks back to the app, and the app talks to the train. So if you bought a train set for this holiday season, for example, you're going to run it on your iPhone.
That's crazy.
That's how it comes, yeah.
So it's a very popular old hobby that is making some adjustments for modern technology.
Well, and obviously
too.
the kids are really comfortable with it. I mean, you show a young man or a young lady how to turn on one of these trains on the iPad, I mean, they don't need a lot of help.
All aboard?
They're ready to go.
Swipe right?
Yeah, here we go.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. And then we opened a restaurant so people have some place to eat when they're here.
And
People
the
used to pack a lunch.
And the restaurant is called?
The Choo Choo Cafe.
Choo Choo Cafe.
And she's got a wonderful bakery in that cafe. It's really good. Good food.
Well, if you go on Yelp and you look up the top 5 things to do in Hamilton County,
Mr. Muffin's Trains is on the list.
So maybe an idea for an excursion in the future. You get close to here, if you can smell that diesel smoke, you're on the right track.
So to speak.
It had to happen sooner or later. Mr. Muffin, thank you very much for letting us into the world of Mr. Muffin. I'm Paul Poteet for LifeStyle Indy.
Excited about the Colts?
Yeah,
Always.
it's going to be a big season. I'm excited about this story because I guess I'd forgotten this guy's from town.
Yeah, he went to Cathedral, as a matter of fact, and he was voted one of the team captains by his teammates, so he's popular.
Yeah.
And
popular, talented, local.
That almost describes Paul Poteet.
Once again,
But
we're describing
actually,
ourselves and the stories.
We're actually talking about Jack Doyle. You'll meet him now.
Gilchrist becomes really important.
Locked to Doyle. Doyle running defenders over, and he takes it in. Doyle rules.
Tell me how it feels to play for your hometown.
Yeah, you know, it's obviously a huge blessing. You know, it's definitely more fun for my family than for anybody else, for them to, you know, be able to see, you know, me out there, go to games, and it be so easy for them. And it's something I think I'll reflect on more when I'm done playing and realize how big a blessing it was to be able to do this for, well, going into my 7th year now. So it's awesome.
So tell me real quick, your family, big family, and I believe they're from the east side. Just give me a little history of who all's watching, who all supports you, and who all didn't have to come so far to see you.
Yeah, no, we like you said, big family, big Irish Catholic family. Got a lot of people still here. They haven't ventured very far. So yeah, my mom's got a ton of sisters, and my dad's got 3 sisters and a brother, and tons of cousins, and baby cousins now, and it's just a lot of people that are great and have a lot of fun with it and give me support.
So that sounds like you have 8 aunts then, if I did the math right?
Yeah, it would be,
That's
right.
a lot.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that, man, you're in your 7th year as a professional football player, outliving most NFL players. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to go from being one of the old guys in the locker room to when you were a rookie going, am I ever going to get a chance to play?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it's gone, honestly. You're just so busy with it, as anything in life. You're so busy and it goes fast, and you try to enjoy the little moments. That's definitely the best part of it. Times in the locker room and little moments on the field that are the joy you get out of all the hard work you put in. But yeah, it's crazy how it changes from being a young guy to an old guy very quickly, and you know, I feel like once you hit that point where you are in the NFL longer than you were in college, you know, that's kind of a weird feeling. But having fun, and I'll do it as long as they'll have me.
Yeah, that's great. So the 2017 year, you were selected as an All-Pro. Were you captain of the team, or were you selected as captain in 18?
Yeah, I was captain in 18, yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
What an honor. Perhaps a bigger honor is the Ed Block Courage Award. And that was voted on by your teammates.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Ed Block Courage Award and how you ended up getting it?
Yeah, it's about a guy that can be resilient and come back from, you know, maybe as an injury or something that happened in their life, and to be able to battle through that. And there's one voted on by each team. So yeah, like anytime you're voted on by your teammates, it's a huge honor. And I was very thankful and honored to get that.
So last year, Frank Reich, first-year head coach, you made it through the beginning of the season, and then with the violence of football, it got you. I know that you had suffered a pretty tough injury. Talk to us a little bit about what that was like in the beginning of the season, watching your team on the big run, and what your expectation is for this year coming back.
Yeah, Coach Reich is awesome. He really is. He preaches, you know, our big motto is 1% better every day, and he not only preaches it, but he lives it, and it's easy to get to follow a guy like that, and he's a great leader. But yeah, you know, it was a great year to build on as a team from last year. As I said, I get a little banged up there, so it's always tough being out. But excited and working hard to get back out there, and you know, and as an offense, we have a lot of different players that can make plays, and obviously have a great quarterback in Andrew, and a great offensive line, great running backs. We have a really good offense and a chance to be good, but you know, we got to put the work in. And put it out there on Sundays.
That's cool. Now, Jack, one of the things we hear about you, and I know you're humble and don't want to hear this, but you're a great football player, but we hear everybody say you're even a better person. And I know you like to give back, and that's really one of your passions. Could you share with us a couple, maybe charities or a couple of the organizations that you like to help that maybe people that are watching us tonight can look at and help?
Yeah, one that Casey and I have kind of gotten into through Dream Builders is the Day Spring Center that helps homeless kids. And it's something that we started, we did last fall. We did a birthday party, and it was kind of just so the kids could all have a birthday party together, and going to do some more stuff this summer. Cool. And it's just, yeah, it's a thing, you know, you don't always think about, I guess, you know, that there is homeless kids, and just getting to meet the kids, you know, we instantly, you know, fell in love with them and want to do more.
That's great. So, yeah, actually, I know that when it comes to homelessness, more than 50% are children.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's a credit to you guys that you're doing that.
Yeah.
So, well, Jack, we want to thank you for joining us today, getting to learn a little bit more about our hometown hero, Jack Doyle. Best of luck in the Colts next year, and hopefully we will see you in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the plan. Thanks, Glenn.
Very good. This is Glenn Bill for LifeStyle Indy.
All right, we're going to take you to a place called the
Propylium. He didn't know how to say it.
I do. I couldn't remember the proper way to say it.
Oh, that's cute. Propylium.
What's going on at the Propylium?
Well, it's actually got quite a rich history, not only just what happened inside, women's movement, that kind of thing, but just the gorgeous decor of the place.
I know it's a great, it's a great looking place.
So
it's great looking, but it's got a lot going on inside.
Thank you. Oh, the Propylium.
Right,
We're going to take you there now.
That too.
If you ever drive around downtown, you've probably been by the building we're in millions of times. But what's really going on here? We're with Liz Ellis today to learn about the Propylium. What a gorgeous building, Liz.
Thank you so much. The Propylium, it's more than just an historic house here in Indianapolis. The house was built in 1890. The Propylium is a women's group, and they moved here in 1923, but they started in 1888.
Oh, a woman's group. I thought that was just the name of the house.
No, it means gateway, and it was started by a woman whose name is Mayrite Sewell, and she was a suffragist and activist here in Indianapolis. The house is 16,000 square feet. It has 9 bedrooms and 13 bathrooms. It was built by John Schmidt, who owned a brewery here in town, again in 1890. And he lived here for about 10 years, and then another brewing family lived here. The Propylium moved here in 1923.
So what kind of events and such do you host here?
We have a lot of our own programming, so our mission is really women's leadership, arts and culture, and the historic building. But we do rent out the space for weddings and corporate events and parties and showers. So when you come into the building, there are parlors on either side of the entryway. This is the northeast room. The Schaff daughter, Alice Schaff, was actually married in this room in front of this mirror.
And so what would this room have been used for originally?
This would have been the front parlor. It would have been where Mrs. Schmidt met with ladies that came to visit.
There's so many little delicate features in here, and the ceiling is gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely. This front room would have been the men's smoking room, and the portraits on the ceiling, this was hand painted. We have William Shakespeare, Percy Shelley, Walt Whitman, and John Keats. This was covered with plaster and canvas, and we found it when we were doing some restorations in 1996.
My goodness.
So this is the original dining room of the home. The wood was originally a dark wood. It was the women, when they moved here, painted it light. The fresco around the top is hand painted as well. We found that in 1996. The cupboard here, this is original to the home with original glass. I would like to point out one of our very favorite features of the home is the rookwood tile fireplace. There are 3 of the fireplaces that are rookwood in the home. This is the only one that's ornamental.
Are those flamingos?
They are flamingos.
You don't notice them at first. It's a little subtle.
Yeah.
Until you get close up and really look at it.
In the entryway, you'll see we have a portrait of Mayrite Sewell. Mayrite Sewell started the Propylium Club, and she started the Indianapolis Women's Club, the Indianapolis Council of Women. She started the Indianapolis Art Association, what is Newfields today. Oh, wow. She also was instrumental in starting the National Council of Women and the International Council of Women. She was involved with Susan B. Anthony. She was a suffragist. She traveled the world.
When there weren't families living in here, what were the bedrooms used for?
From the late 1920s to the early 1970s, women that were members of the Propylium could live here instead of going to a nursing home.
Really?
Yes. So all of the women that were names that you would recognize from Indianapolis, the Lillies, the Vonnegut's, the Binfords, they were all members of the Propylium Club. In its heyday, there were over 500 women that were members. This room is our bridal suite. When we have weddings here, which we do a lot of, the bride and bridesmaids would get ready in this room. So this room, again, is the sitting room to the master bedroom, but it's where we have our women's suffrage paraphernalia. So we have pictures of women suffragists from Indiana. They're not necessarily women from the Propylium, because we don't really have a lot of photos from the early days of the Propylium, but most of the women that were members were activists. While we're walking down here, I wanted to point out to you that the door here at the back of the hallway separates the front of the house from the back of the house. So the family was up here and the staff was in the back.
Ah, yes. Oh my gosh, another huge door.
I will point out before we get to the ballroom, this room at the top of the stairs, this is the nursery. The children would have been up here with the nursemaid, and I would like to point out the nook in the back. It's a room you have to see if you come to the Prop. It's everybody's favorite room.
Oh, it's so cute. It's a little playroom. This would definitely be my favorite room in the house.
Something really fun about this ballroom was that Mrs. Gates held cotillion dance classes here from the late 1920s to the early 1970s. And I'll tell you, everybody in Indianapolis that was anybody took Mrs. Gates' dance and deportment classes.
My goodness. Now, Liz, when you come into this building, it's like walking back in time. Where did the furniture come from?
Well, the furniture has been donated by members of the Propileum, their family, and other members in the Indianapolis community.
Is any of the furniture significant?
It is. Let me show you in here. So this furniture is actually from the Claypool Hotel. It was torn down in the early 70s. It was here in downtown Indianapolis. Carol Lombard was a movie star. She was from Indianapolis. She was selling war bonds in Indiana in the 1940s. She stayed at the Claypool Hotel, flew out the next day, and was killed in an airplane accident. This furniture is from the suite of rooms she stayed in.
Clark Gable's wife.
Clark Gable's wife, absolutely.
And so how did the furniture get here?
One of our prop members actually bought it at auction and donated it to the Propileum.
Now, something I noticed is that nothing in this building is roped off.
Absolutely. All of the furniture is completely usable.
Really? So I can sit on this couch?
Absolutely. Have a seat. We have a carriage house out back, and when it was built, it was one of the largest carriage houses in Indianapolis. So it's definitely one of the largest ones now. It was the original children's museum in Indianapolis.
Really?
Yes, in 1935.
Wow.
Yeah, very few people know that.
There is so much to discover here at the Propileum. Thank you so much for taking us around
I'm
today.
so glad that you came. Everybody's welcome any day.
Liz, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mel.
For Lifestyle Indy, I'm Mel McMahon.
We're so glad you're with us, especially if you like wine.
Oh, present?
And present.
Yeah, I like it. I just don't know a lot about it. Mrs. P knows a lot about it, and she knows it's notes of this and hints of that, and yada, yada, yada.
I just know if it tastes good and I like it.
Exactly.
You know?
Jill,
Yeah,
I know
like that
Jill Dittmeyer knows a lot about wine. She's an expert in it, like Mrs. P.
And so are a couple of other Hoosiers you're going to meet in this segment.
Well, I know wine, and Todd and his wife Becky know travel, so I was really interested to learn more about their newest book. You've traveled to Indiana wineries. It's the ultimate guide to wine in Indiana. Why did you decide to write a book about Indiana wineries?
We had visited many of the wineries in Napa Valley, and when we got back, we realized that we had been to several here in state, and we decided to visit all the rest of them, and that's how we started writing the book.
How many wineries are there in Indiana now?
I think there's now more than 90.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of traveling.
It is.
How did you decide where to start and what all to ask the wineries when you visited?
We loved doing it because we got to, of course, visit each winery. We also got to interview the winemakers and the wine owners, the winery owners, and just learn about how they made their wines. It's fascinating because a lot of the people who are here in Indiana making the wines have come from other areas of the country. You know, they're bringing their expertise to Indiana.
Because it's hard work making
hard work.
wine.
Yes, you have to know what you're doing. I don't know how to make wine, but you know, winemakers, they all have their theories and their knack for putting it together. And of course, our grapes in Indiana are unique. We tend to grow Chambourcin and Traminette. Some of the best in the world are here in Indiana of those varietals.
A red wine grape and a white wine grape.
Yes.
I think Traminette maybe is the Indiana grape.
It is the Indiana
isn't it?
grape.
There are also, I know, wine trails in Indiana that kind of
Yes.
can help us guide where we want to go.
There are 8 currently, and the oldest one is the Uplands Trail.
And that was, I think, named after the geographical region of the state, perhaps.
It was, yes. And in fact, this is interesting, but one of the oldest wine regions in the United States is actually southern Indiana. Back in the late 1700s, it was the premier wine region on the Ohio River.
I was going to say, it'd be easy to get there, and the soil is probably pretty rich
Yes.
and stony, and those grapevines like to struggle
Absolutely.
to grow. Well, Oliver Winery, I know, is on the Uplands Trail, and I believe it's the oldest winery in the state.
Yes, one of the premier, one of the first ones, and there were several of the winemakers in Indiana that actually brought wine back to Indiana because it had been many decades since wine was actually be able to produce in the state.
Well, I know this is one of Oliver's their most popular ones at their tasting room, their blueberry moscato. It's the
delicious.
Muscat Canelli, Muscat Alexander, I believe, and the blueberry juice that's produced there. And I know a lot of people probably have been to the Oliver Winery because their tasting room is pretty well known. But what other wineries did you find that are kind of extra special that maybe we haven't stumbled upon yet?
One of the largest ones in state, in fact, I think it is the largest estate-grown wines, grapes here, is Huber in the far south. It's an enormous winery, and they have a lot of foot traffic as well, people visiting there. If you go north, Sawtech, up in the northern part of the state, is one of those that's been around for a long time, and they make some delicious wines too.
Are there any things that we should keep in mind when we go to a winery to taste?
Well, if you're on a wine trail, the beauty of that is that all those wineries are working together, and so they help each other and they help people to get from place to place. And also, usually there's some gifts or a punch card, so that as you're traveling from place to place, you kind of get a feel for what that wine trail is all about.
That passport thing, I
Yes.
think they call it. Are there things that we should not do when we visit a winery?
Well, obviously, if you're visiting a lot of wineries, you don't want to sample too many wines at every place, otherwise you can't drive to the next place. So I always tell people it's perfectly acceptable to sample a wine, taste it, and just let somebody know that you're going to pour the wine out, but just enjoy it, and then you'll purchase your favorite ones.
And since you guys kind of got the bug when you were out in California, how would you compare your wine tasting trips in California to what Indiana has to offer?
One of the things that I learned when we came back from Napa, I actually met a winemaker here in Indiana who was traveling and visiting our wineries. And this woman told me, she said, the wonderful thing about our Indiana wineries, she said, they are all unique. You're traveling around Napa, a lot of them look the same, and you're going to taste the same wines essentially. But in Indiana, you're going to get a breadth of flavors and different kinds of wines that we produce here.
And they're all included in the book. You list the grapes, you have beautiful pictures, and you also have wonderful hand drawings of maps, locators too,
Yes.
that adds that little extra personal touch, I think.
I hope people enjoy it.
Where can we find the book?
It's in most of the local bookstores and around the state, and of course Amazon has everything, so it's there too.
It's also that kind of nice, if we spill our wine on it, it's not going to ruin it that way too. I kind of like that too. It's user friendly.
It is.
But I'm thirsty. I'm thinking maybe we need to go find a wine opener. What do you think?
Let's try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Lifestyle Indy, I'm Jill Dittmeyer.
That was fun.
Yeah, remember that part where I said I had all those questions at the
Did you
beginning?
get them all answered? Yes. All of them?
We're done.
Wow.
For
So
now.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, for now.
Until the next time?
Yeah, there's always a next time. Okay. Yeah, so come back for that, okay?
Oh, well, I will. You
All
guys
right.
do the same.
See you soon.
Okay.
For all things Lifestyle Indy, just visit our website. That's lifestyleindy.com. It connects this TV show with the radio show and the magazine. We've got useful information for people all over central Indiana. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Pick up Lifestyle Indy magazine at most Kroger stores and libraries. Look for us all over Indy.
Listen to Lifestyle Indy Radio Saturday afternoons at 4:30 p.m. on Freedom 95. Lifestyle Indy Radio. Your life, your style.
Lifestyle Indy is made possible with support from Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match customer-specific needs and style. Additional funding is provided by Altman, Poindexter, and Wyatt attorneys, serving clients throughout central Indiana with wills, trusts, and estates, with over 70 years of combined experience.